Rhodi Hawk began her career as a transcription linguist in US Army intelligence and later made a living as a technical writer. She now writes fiction full-time. In 2007, Rhodi Hawk won the International Thrillerwriter Scholarship for her first work of fiction, A Twisted Ladder. And she is represented by Peter Miller of PMA Literary and Film Management. First of all, great to see you.
Likewise.
US Army intelligence and fiction. Did that sort of push you over the edge to write fiction?
You know, it's ironically the two sort of go hand in hand, especially in the capacity where I worked. There was a lot of imagination going on because for the most part we just sat and waited for something to happen. So. And
thank goodness nothing happened, really.
Not too much, yeah. So I had a lot of time to consider what the possibilities could be.
You can't share a secret or two?
I'm afraid not.
Why a writer? What appeals to you about writing?
You know, I started writing ever since I was a little girl. My sister was an artist and I was a writer, and I used to write stories and pass them to her, and she would draw images based on the stories for as long as I could remember. I was telling tales. Better than telling lies, I figure.
And fiction?
Fiction, yeah. I like a good story.
You couldn't handle the truth?
No. No. My grandmothers, both of them, on my mother's and my father's side, used to tell us fairy tales when we were kids. So I went for the lies right from the start.
And thrillers. Why thrillers?
Yeah.
Do you like the suspense that builds up?
I do. I like a nice fast pace. I like things to move along. I like that fire that you get from thrillers.
Let's talk about A Twisted Ladder, or The Twisted Ladder. Tell us about this.
A Twisted Ladder is sort of a spooky story. It's set in New Orleans, and there's...
Well, that's spooky.
Yeah, it's an easy gothic setting. And there's a thread that goes in modern day, and there's also one that goes back into the past, around 1912 to 1927. And it sort of addresses heritage and some of the supernatural things or paranormal experiences that we all might have had at some point in our lives, and how that could possibly be tied into our genetic code, hence the title A Twisted Ladder.
What sort of personal experiences did you use to write the book? Well,
I had a couple of moments where I had dreams that were very unsettling, and they came true. And A Twisted Ladder in particular, it happened one night when I dreamed about this really upsetting, it was a murder, essentially.
Well, that's upsetting.
Yeah. And you know how it is when you're dreaming, you feel like you're there, it feels real. And the next morning when I woke up, the clock radio came on, I was getting ready, and I heard this newscast about a murder that had happened overnight, and they found these remains, and it exactly matched what my dream had been. So that affected me very deeply, and I started writing this book based on that.
Normally I'd like to say that I would like to be in your dreams, but but please don't, because I would like maybe to see another 10 years at least, if you don't mind. What are some of the challenges of being a writer?
It's interesting because in order to write effectively, you sort of have to go deep inside your own mind and even your spirit to really find that creativity. And it's a still place, it's a lonely place, and you make a cocoon around yourself. And then you have to bring this thing out into the world, and it's almost a different self that you bring out when you're finished and you want to put the book out. Then you're social again. You have to assimilate and act normal.
And how do you survive? I mean, if you're putting all your time in writing a book, how do you survive in the meantime?
Well,
that's a challenge.
Yeah, a lot of sleep, I think. A lot of sleep. Sleep helps. Sleep balances the two lives, the two sets of mind.
Okay, you've written the book, or you've done the first draft. The creative control, who has that? You, or does, say, for example, in your case, does Peter have that?
Peter, my manager, I couldn't have asked for a better representation. He has helped guide me in my career, and he has so much faith in me as a writer. He's given me complete creative control and has helped guide me to the places where my work is best received. So I'm very lucky in that respect, and that's both for literary and film. So yeah, he's helped me in managing not only my work but my career in general.
You write the book, from the heart? Peter would do the rest of it from a commercial point of view.
Certainly, yes.
So how do those two clash, the creative from the heart, from the practical side of things to make money?
Well, I think the dirty little secret about this business is...
I like them. Now I like this part. These are the bits I like.
No, but the dirty little secret about this business is that if you're true to what you're doing from an artistic standpoint, it tends to be well received in the world. And Peter himself, Peter Miller, is an artist of sorts. He writes poetry, he draws, he is such an advocate for writers and creative types, so that he understands this process completely. There have been times where I feel like I've possibly pushed my luck with my creative process, and he's always said, what's most important is that the work is right and true, and that's the best advice he's always given me. He's amazing.
To market the book, do they market the book or do they market you?
I would hope that they market the book, but nowadays I understand that from a commercial perspective, the writer gets under focus from time to time. But from my perspective, it's about the book. It's about telling a tale and being true to that tale.
Whenever you plan something, you have to actually plan, sometimes years in advance. Okay, you finish this book. Do you actually think about the next one and the one after now and start working on bits and pieces?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. As a matter of fact, I couldn't turn it off if I tried, and I've tried. So there is a sequel as yet untitled to A Twisted Ladder that'll be coming out shortly afterward, and it's something that, in my mind, goes on and on and on. I don't know if I'll actually be presenting to the world more than the two books, but for sure those two.
Inspirations. I mean, Peter, of course, is one of those, and sort of a newfound inspiration, a continuing influence on your life. What other inspirational characters are there?
Well, the setting for my book is in Louisiana. It's in the southern part. There's New Orleans, and then there's the bayous. And I'm a Texan, and spent a good portion of my time in Louisiana as well. And it's just an amazing place. It's a spiritual place, a superstitious place, and it's fun to imagine what's real and what's maybe something that science just hasn't caught up with yet. And so that's probably a good source of my inspiration.
I can see a movie here, Clint Eastwood directing it. But do you have plans for a movie? You know,
I'll be speaking with some folks in a couple of weeks about this topic.
That's very exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy exciting. I love it.
If you weren't a writer, what would you be?
If I wasn't a writer, I would probably still write. It's one of those things I can't turn off. So regardless of whether I'm getting paid for it or I have to pay somebody to do it, or it's part of me. But I also am attracted to music. I play the banjo, and I write songs for the banjo as well. So.
Deliverance, ding, ding, ding. The music sort of fits almost Louisiana.
It does, yeah. It does, yeah. Zydeco and Cajun music, the banjo is no stranger to that, yeah.
How would you describe Rhodi Hawk? Say just in one word.
Out of control. Is that 3 words? Wait a
But
minute.
you're a writer, you have creative control. But in one word, just one word.
One word.
If somebody says, who is Rhodi Hawk?
I'd say growing.
Rhodi, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. This has been a pleasure.